Massive win for Manchester United, a big result in the context of the top four race in the Premier League and a perfect way to toast the life too of the legendary Harry Greg OBE. Rest in peace, Harry, and condolences to all his family and friends as well. This is the best Manchester United phone-in around for 45 minutes. Your chance to have your say. Give us a call. The number's on your screen now. We want your thoughts. 0345 111 7625 is the number. Wherever you were in the world following that match, around the globe, get involved with us here. I'm Niall, keeping the seat warm for Joe McGrath this evening. I've got Arkid and Angelina in the studio. Hello.
Yeah, right.
How was that? That was all right, wasn't it?
Makes a nice change, that's what that is.
Yeah,
always makes a nice change to get 3 points. It certainly does. But in the context of the top four race, massive result for Manchester United. But it's not about us, it's about you guys. Wherever you may be watching around the world, that number again, 0345 111 7625. Get your comments in as well on the YouTube comments. Make sure you get them down in there. First of all, Arkid, your thoughts on what was a very important game and a very important 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. When you look at the league table beforehand, I think we were only 11 points off the relegation zone. With that, I think we move up to 7th and we could win with a shout at the top 6. But yeah, massive win. Third time we've done Chelsea this season. But it's the way our season's going. With roller coaster in terms. We'll beat Chelsea and then struggle against the next opponents. But the highlight today was the Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire. We're scoring from corners again. I don't think we've scored from corners in over a year, but yeah, so it was great. The performance wasn't fantastic. I don't think Chelsea were up to much. I think United had 2 shots on goal and scored two, so we'll take that. But yeah, to go to Stamford Bridge and get 3 points, fantastic.
Satisfying, Angelina. I think that's the word I would use to describe that.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you say about Stamford Bridge, like there used to be like this stigma with them, and like we struggled so much every time that we went there. So yeah, I think to get the win is great, and like you say, beating Chelsea again. I'm sure everyone's excited now regarding title races and points and where that's going to leave people. So yeah, no, it's like you say, satisfying. I think could have been better, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, VAR certainly came to save United a couple of times, but you're not complaining in those sorts of situations.
No, definitely not. And rules are rules. You know, it's
they're there to be followed. Yeah. Yes.
What are your thoughts anyway? 0345 111 7625 is the telephone number. Give us a call, and our first caller is Sam, coming all the way from the United States. Hello, Sam. How you doing?
All right, Sam.
I'm all right. How about you guys?
Yeah, very well. What did you make of that game? It was quite a nervous encounter, I think, for those people expecting a big result for today, but United got the job done.
Yeah, I think this is the first time in a while like we've seen a true style of football that I think Ollie was trying to implement, and obviously Bruno Fernandes, in terms of driving the ball forward, did and was a massive part in that. I agreed with Arkid there. We must have been spending at least 70% of our time in that training camp in Spain working on set pieces, because that one, it looked good. And, Harry Maguire obviously playing well in terms of defending, and he's getting forward and he's a threat in the box. But, yeah, I mean, it's nothing to be unhappy with. And I know most of the time I come on here, I've said that we shouldn't focus on the league because top 4 is a bit of a stretch, but with what's just happened and the fact that we're only going to have to finish ahead of the likes of Spurs and Sheffield United, getting Champions League football through the league is a little bit more attainable now.
Yeah, with the league being so close, taking points off of people around you is obviously massive. So to take points off of Chelsea, that kind of sends a message to the other teams fighting for top 4, which, of course, as you mentioned about Man City and the UEFA ban, might now become a top 5.
Exactly, yeah. I think, like you say, Arkid, Chelsea, obviously this is now 6 games we're unbeaten against them. We can beat the big teams, but next week we might struggle. I actually don't know who we have, but after we beat the big teams, we go and struggle against Bournemouth, struggle against Watford. But I think with the signings that we made, we could actually push on at this point. And the supporters pub we went mad when Igalo came on. If he had scored that, it would have erupted. But overall, I think we played brilliantly today and had a little bit of luck. But yeah.
You could definitely see the difference in Fernandes. I mean, first half, he was sort of the driving force with the ball, wasn't he? And I think a lot of the players around him were a bit hesitant to get involved. And then the confidence grew into the second half, obviously with the cross for the corner. But can you see an immediate impact and where we're going to go forward with the rest of the season?
He absolutely does have an immediate impact, I think. And, you know, not just with his influence on the pitch and being able to be at the center of things, but you know, the mentality he brings in, I think he genuinely does lift the morale of the squad. He motivates, and I think Igalo will have a similar effect in that aspect. So, you know, I think he does bring a lot to the table in terms of that instant impact. Yeah.
Sam, it's been great to chat to you, mate. Thanks very much for your call all the way from the United States. All the best, mate.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, cheers. Appreciate it.
Take care, Sam. Well, that's Sam. Get your call in as well. Loads of you lighting up the switchboard, but keep them coming in. You've got about 40 minutes or so to have your voice heard. We've also got Myron on the line. Hello, Myron. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Good result today. I just wanted to say, I think we need to be starting Mason Greenwood instead of Dan James. He didn't offer anything today. Igalo came on, did the job. Martial needs to, you know, be benched a bit because he just didn't offer anything. Our midfield's looking good now. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was surprised that the first half it looked like up until Martial scoring it sort of seeing that we weren't playing with a centre forward because Martial, just his natural role, he usually drifts out left, so we didn't have anything going through the middle. So I agree with you, I probably would have started Greenwood. I think Dan James has probably been the biggest victim this season for our how thin our squad is, because there's no way when we signed him in the summer that we thought we were going to be that reliant on him, and no fault of his own, he had such a fantastic start and the expectations level went through the roof. So, you know, I'd agree with you to give him a rest. And Greenwood's been fantastic every time he's come in, so I agree.
Yeah, I want to see Mason Greenwood score a lot of goals. He's just like Van Persie.
Mason Greenwood being like Van Persie is not a bad thing. Azaki got a point though, Angelina. Is Daniel James kind of a victim of his fast start? Because he started so well, and on the first day of the season against Chelsea, obviously came off the bench and scored pretty much immediately, and then he was kind of the man for the first few weeks of the season. So is the fact that kind of he's tailed off, it's kind of come back to bite him in a strange way?
Yeah, 100%. I think you see a lot of the fan opinion and stuff like that, and people are getting on him. And you can understand because people have seen what he's capable of, and then he's maybe not producing that, so people are getting frustrated. But at the same time, you know, he is a young lad. Like you said, you know, we didn't think that we was going to have to use him as much as we have. Sure. I think there's probably a lot of fatigue with him. There's a lot of pressure. So yeah, I can understand why people are getting frustrated, but at the same time, I think you know, people need to cut him a bit of slack.
Myron, thanks very much for your call, mate. Really appreciate it. Thanks for getting in touch. 0345 111 7625 is the number. Keep your calls coming in. We've got Dan from Blackburn. We've also got Danny on the line as well. Franklin, I can see you two waiting. Don't worry, you will get your say. Hang on in there. Keep your calls coming in. Also, what might have gone under the radar today, Arcade, is the fact that Eric Bailly made a return. But, I mean, so sort of composed and assured was he on the ball that it was almost easy to forget that he's been out for so long.
Yeah, definitely. There was a running joke on Twitter when he was mentioning the lineup, and everyone was expecting him either to get injured or sent off within the first 20 minutes. But yeah, it was ridiculously composed on the ball. Bailly for me has always been probably one of my most natural centre backs and great on the ball. And if anything, reminded me of Rio Ferdinand in the post-Ferguson years. It's probably Bailly, but sometimes it can be a bit haphazard, and you know he does get injured a lot. But yeah, it was a composed. Consider I don't think he's played with Maguire earlier this season, so yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah, and with those sorts of players, you always get that element of risk. You know, when they're more likely to play the ball out from the back rather than smash it long, they are going to be prone to mistakes. But there was one moment that Bailly had the ball almost on a string, didn't he? He was like kind of taking it around everyone. That is good to see. Is that something that United fans can get excited about, Angelina? Maguire and Bailly playing together?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Maguire and Lindelof, you know, do leave a lot to be desired sometimes. It is stressful watching them. So I think if someone else can come in, take Lindelof's place and actually prove that, you know, they're good enough to be in the squad despite the injuries and, you know, the odd situation he's had where he's maybe not made the best choices. You know, if he can come in and prove himself, I think he'll be wanting to as well. You know, he's been out for what seemed like 10,000 years. So you know, Pogba, this is his chance to kind of stand up and be counted. And if he's doing that, then respect to him. And I hope he continues, and I hope he does well.
And it's a good time to be coming back as well, with the games becoming more and more important towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to need as many fit players as possible. I don't know what's happening with the Paul Pogba situation. We've obviously got McTominay that might be coming back soon. Marcus Rashford, big question mark over that. So we've been leaking goals all season, and thankfully to VAR we didn't concede. concede two tonight. But yeah, as many fit players as we need at this point in the season.
Absolutely. We've got Danny on line one. Hello, Danny. Hope you're good. What did you make of the game, my friend?
Hi guys, first of all, want to say obviously it was an emotional one. Obviously Harry Gregg passed away this morning.
Yeah.
Obviously this victory was just for him, but I'm going to start off from the back. I mean, when Harry Maguire signed, I wanted him to actually partner Bailly in the back four. Bailly today was just immense. I mean, that block just summed him up. I mean, every time he went in for a challenge, you kind of hold your breath thinking, he might come off with an injury or anything, but today he looked settled in that back four. Midfield, Matic held things properly, let Bruno, Fernandes and Fred just express themselves when they got forward. Up front, Daniel James, I completely agree with you guys. I mean, he has been made to look like a scapegoat, but we have got to remember he is young. He has been, been thrown into the starting 11 when we would expect him to play in the reserves and make his way into the team. The other thing is as well, I was really impressed with one player today, and that was Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw looked like he was getting forward. He was willing to get the ball, obviously after his injury and everything. But I'm pretty confident. I mean, we have got a couple of tough games. For example, we have got Watford at home, which can be a potential banana skin, before we've got Everton, Tottenham and City. So if you can get 15 points out of that game, I mean, it's sweet. But the other thing is as well, if you can get significant investment in the summer and, get our administration right, and obviously if we do finish fifth, which is looking that way, pending City's appeal, if you can get that fifth position and potentially get the Champions League, put some significant investment into this squad, do our administration right and not get a fucking 2-year ban from UEFA. And then, you know what, things are actually on the up and up. But obviously, we just got to give it time, give Bruno Fernandes. I mean, Bruno Fernandes had a class game today. That corner, the ball that was whipped in. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's obviously clearly worked on his offensive game and everything. I mean, that cross was just sublime. It just was asking, put your head on that ball, put your head on that ball.
Yeah.
Odion Ighalo, it would have been, if Odion Ighalo scored with that today, that would have just topped it off.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. And you talk as well, sorry to cut you off there, Danny, you talk about finishing fifth. From what you've seen tonight and from the distance between Chelsea and their sort of the next one above, Leicester in third, are Chelsea the ones for the taking in terms of a top 4, top 5 spot? Because obviously Jose and Spurs, they'll be bang up for finishing in the top 5 now too, and Everton as well. And you mentioned those games to come; they're going to be difficult. Are Chelsea the ones you can see slipping out of it, and United kind of moving on in there?
I think Chelsea have got the young talent, but we have seen that they have lost 9 games this season. 9 games this season for a 4th place team, and they are looking a bit jaded. They needed someone up front. I mean, Michy Batshuayi is not cutting it. Right. Olivier Giroud's short on confidence. He's short on game time. Tammy Abraham's injured. Callum Hudson-Odoi is injured. So I'm saying these next 3 games, Chelsea are there for the taking. So we've got to make the most of the opportunity. Obviously, like I said, Everton are still in there. Arsenal is still in there. Sheffield United are still in there. So it's there for the taking, but we just need to maximise our opportunities by getting full points in these next games coming up. And who knows, we might finish third. But I'm not saying that, we are guaranteed a third place finish. But if you can get on a run, then Chelsea are there definitely for the taking.
Danny mentioned there how he was impressed by Shaw. I mean, the Shaw and Williams connection down the left, is that working for you? Do you think that's a positive thing moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Williams has been sensational since he come into the team, and I think many people thought that he was going to be the natural replacement for Luke Shaw, and I was surprised on the I think it was a Liverpool game when he first set up with Shaw and Williams both going down that left hand side, and it's working really well, and they're complementing each other, and I think Shaw stepping up his game because of the performances that Williams is putting in. So far so good on that front. But for me, it has to be Chelsea, because I think we're 12 points behind Leicester in the league, so that's a lot to turn around. I can't see them slipping that much. But Chelsea have been maybe punching above their weight. I don't think anyone had the expectation of Frank Lampard to be going for Champions League places this year with them losing Hazard and not being able to invest. But it's going to be interesting if it'll be Solskjaer versus Mourinho for that fourth spot.
What is it about Shaw that was impressed you today, Danny? I just wonder if you could sort of elaborate on what it was in particular about Shaw that you made you excited.
Sometimes we have seen Shaw, running down the channel, but then stopping, going back. Today he was actually making the runs, making himself available. Just spreading the pitch, making Chelsea look stretched and everything. On some occasions, if the final ball was there, then it would have, we would be expecting like a 4-0 result. But like I said, obviously, it is something to work on. That Marbella training camp has worked. We can see it today. But like I said, the next 3 games are really, really important. We need to maximise the opportunity because Chelsea are there for the taking, because they got a depleted squad. You can tell they're short on confidence, and we could actually see that there was a kind of a revolt in the stadium when the people in the stadium were leaving after 75 minutes. So there is a bit of unrest at Chelsea. Now we've just got to take advantage of that and hopefully finish in the top 4 or even top 5.
Danny, thanks for your call, mate. Really appreciate it. Cheers for getting in touch. Take care, mate.
That made me feel so positive.
That's good, wasn't it?
He was such a good hype man for United. Honestly, I feel like we can go and do anything right now. I'm like, you know what? I like that. I like a bit of positivity.
Don't come on here when we lose, though.
Should have kept him on. He would have talked us up into getting Sanchez back at the club. Can you imagine?
Wow.
I know, Dan from Blackburn, you're hanging on, and Franklin as well. Thank you very much for hanging on in there. We will come to you in a second. But I just wanted to ask as well, Angelina, about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who got a really good assist for the goal. And a lot of people have been saying this season he hasn't assisted enough. I think everyone knew when United bought him that he's very strong defensively, but going forward maybe is something that he needed to work on. But we're just starting to see signs of that now, which is positive.
I think anybody that has seen me on Full-Time Devils before knows my policy of leave Wan-Bissaka alone. He is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everyone just needs to let him be. No, I think I am, a massive fan of him. I think it's great to see somebody coming into that position that I think we've been lacking in that position for so long, and for him to come in. And I've said it before, my main thing with him was the City game that we actually won. I didn't realise Sterling was actually on the pitch, thanks to him.
Yeah.
And for that, I gave him ultimate respect. And you know what? I get the negative comments people are saying about certain issues in his style of play. But, he is young. This is his first season. And if he's coming in and he's been in Marbella working on stuff and whatever, if he's come back and he's made a positive change, then I'm definitely not mad at that. Good for him for recognising what he needs to sort out and doing his best with it. So, yeah.
So many positive signs tonight, not just from Wan-Bissaka, but Maguire scoring, Fernandes hitting the post from a free kick, corners looking good. And Bailly being back, Shaw looking strong. It's almost like everything that possibly could have gone right in terms of performances did go right. I mean, it wasn't a scintillating performance. They didn't destroy Chelsea and blow Chelsea away, but certainly everyone individually could be pretty proud of their performances.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would expect anyone to go to Stamford Bridge and blow them away. Like we were saying earlier on, it's usually a difficult place to go and get any points. But there were positives across the park. For me now, it's moving forward and having the consistency. And we're hoping with the new signings like Fernandes and Agallo is going to bring us that enthusiasm and consistency for the next few games.
Okay, now we're going to go to Dan from Blackburn. Thanks for hanging on, Dan. What did you make of that Monday night football? United beating Chelsea by 2-0.
Hi guys, you alright?
Yeah, all good, mate, all good.
I just heard when you were talking just before about positivity, so I'll just slightly just bring it down a little bit.
It wouldn't be Full-Time Devils without it, Dan. Cheers.
Obviously, I'm delighted with the result and everything. It's just, you still hold that, the fact that we've kind of been here a few times in the season. We tend to turn up for these big games. It's the games in between these that we struggle with. I mean, I'm hoping that the signings and, the positivity does sort of go through the squad and it carries on. But it's just a little bit of bringing the reality into the situation that we've kind of seen this happen previously this season, and you thought we were going to kick on, and it just hasn't quite happened. But as I think a few people have said tonight, I thought Bruno Fernandes, he just sort of looked a different class tonight, without really, ripping up the game. He just looked like he had he had it in his locker, and he did a few things that you just felt like he was making people play. I thought, even though Martial, other than his goal, was actually pretty terrible, he forced him to play by giving him balls that he had to run onto, or little 1-2s and stuff. So that's looking really positive. But then the last thing I wanted to ask you guys was, I don't know if you've read the comments from Raiola, that I just happened to see them at half time when the game was on, and like, looking at Fernandes playing tonight, for me personally, I'd be happy if Pogba never played a game for United again. I mean, people who believe that the agent doesn't speak for the player, I just don't know where you're coming from. Agents need players. Players don't need agents. We'd still have players without agents. They need the players. So there's no agent who's not speaking on behalf of the player, because if they don't want them to, they just tell them, do not say a word, don't say anything, I don't want you to. And they shut their mouth, because they need the players. So nobody's telling me that he's not in line with his agent, with what he's saying. I just want to see the back of him. I'm sick of the arguments. I mean, I've had them with people. You can see it across the fan base about him and everything. I don't care anymore. It's just leave. Just go. You want to go. All this to me is all just making it an easier exit. Come the end of the season, nobody likes him because of all this stuff that's come out. He's not said any of it, but his agent said it. And he gets out and goes, and I'm just hoping that's what happens, but I don't know what you guys think about it.
I agree with you completely. I think that this has been... Pogba's definitely had a word in his ear, but I read the comments at the same time as you from half time, where he put it out like an angry ex-wife who'd had too much wine on Twitter. No, it's just ridiculous, saying that Solskjaer needs to remember what he said in the summer. This is my take on it, and I know there's a lot of full-time Devils fans that absolutely love Paul Pogba, but it's not worked. He has no interest in playing in the club, and from him saying last year that he needs a new challenge and he thinks he needs to leave and stuff. And then from Mino Raiola's comments today about the discussions that Solskjaer had in the summer, what I make of it is that Solskjaer said last year that he can go next summer, or he could go last year if there were any suitors. Yeah. And what happened is the Real Madrid had basically blown all their money on Hazard and other players because they needed other players in other positions. So nobody wanted Paul Pogba last year. Now Paul Pogba doesn't want to get injured for the Euros, so I don't actually believe any of this nonsense. I think he's gone in for an operation on his injury, but I don't think it was anything that needed to be done there and then. And all he's doing is using the club now to get fit for the Euros and then leave in the summer. It's an absolute joke of a person. His agent's an absolute joke. And then the better they're out the window, the better they're out the club. The sooner they're out of the club, the better.
Agreed, 100%. Yeah. It is just dragging out so long now. This has been going on for so long, and for me, the main issue is, you know what, he might have had his issues with Fergie in the past or whatever his issues were, fair enough, but at the end of the day, this club has helped him massively, like with his growth and development as a kid, and I just think the disrespect that he puts on the club's name, if you don't want to play for the club, don't play for the club, that's absolutely fine, but the attitude on him and the way that, like you say, he's 1,000,000% using the club right now. He's posting on Instagram all this hard work he's doing. Is he doing it for United? Like hell. He's doing it for the Euros, and I just think the disrespect that he puts on the club's name it's disgusting.
That's why I find it absolutely absurd. I mean, you can get on the message board now, full-time Devil fans, and tell me the reason why people still support Paul Pogba. I'm not doubting his talent. It's there for all to see. But there's no point having the talent if you haven't got the enthusiasm, and he's got no enthusiasm to play for Manchester United, and that's it. He's basically dragging the club and the badge that gave him so much as a young kid and brought him back there with open arms. We were going to make him, he was going to be the reviver of the club, and he's trying to drag him through the mud. We've got Bruno Fernandes. I'd be happy with McTominay ahead of Paul Pogba. Get out of the club.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You said you wanted to bring it down a peg, Dan. I think you've managed it. Our kid's lost his head. His head's come clean off. Anyway, this is a platform for fans. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate your call, mate. This is a platform for fans, of course. Like Dan, if you are one, a Manchester United fan, you've just watched the United win over Chelsea, get in contact with us, 0345 111 7625. Still got about 15 minutes or so to get your calls in. I know, Franklin, you've been waiting very, very patiently, but I will say this is a platform for fans. We don't want to focus too much on agents. If you do want to know what Mino Raiola has to say, just go on over to Twitter. It's on his account, black and white for everyone to see. I won't give him that light of day on this show, don't worry about that. Get your calls coming in. Let's go straight to Franklin, as he has been very patient. Appreciate you waiting on, Franklin. What do you like to say about tonight's game?
Hey guys,
hey, mate.
How are you?
Very well, man. How are you?
Yeah, man, I love VAR, bro. Oh, man.
What did you make of the VAR calls then, Franklin? What did you think of the calls that were made in the end?
I think they were all right. Like, VAR was, the first one was on Maguire. Yeah, he stuck his leg out, but what do you expect him to do? Because he was almost at the edge of he has to, or what he did was trying to protect himself, even as much. Like it's a natural reaction. It's not like he intentionally took his leg out. I'm not trying to make an excuse for him, but everything about the VAR today was correct. The two goals, Chelsea goals that was disallowed. They're clearly there. Nobody has to argue that. But let's not waste our time on that. We have to think about the positive of our own players. And at the same time, every time I call in, I keep talking about how the coach played. They played the way the coach wanted to play. So big up to Ole. He's been to Chelsea twice, beat Chelsea. Chelsea has been to Old Trafford 3 times. No Man United coaches has ever done it before. Here's the first.
He
for a long time, so big up to him.
He seems to have a bit of a hoodoo over Chelsea, doesn't he, Franklin? It's for whatever reason, every time he seems to play against Chelsea, United get the result. I think it's not. I think Chelsea haven't beaten United since May 2018, something like that. So the record's been pretty good over recent times.
Yeah, it is. It is at the moment. It's good. It's good day in the office for Ole. So big up to him. But at the same time, I just want to say something like. Last season, we were complaining of some people complaining about leadership. Well, I think when we bought Maguire, we didn't just buy a defender. We bought a leader. He is a true leader because if you see what he was, I'm not talking about the goals. The way he was like, you could see his presence there, his aura of a leader. He was like directing everybody. And look at what Bruno Fernandes did throughout the game. He was talking like he's been there for 2 years. He's telling people where to run to, trying to direct people shot from players and stuff, track back, make tackles. So I have to say they did really good today, as well as Matic as well. Matic did because in the midfield, if you look at the midfield, the best midfielder on that field today was Kovacic.
Yeah, for Chelsea.
And Matic did. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he did play well.
Matic, he played well, and Matic did a very good job in the midfield, like trying to make sure that we don't lose to the control of the midfield. In as much Kovacic was trying to buzz the mid, but Matic was still there trying to get the ball, trying to win ball, trying to make passes. Fred was doing a dirty job and stuff like that. So big up to them all. Big up to the coach. Big up to the players. They did very, very well. At least giving us these 3 points. It would have been worse if we were 9 points behind Chelsea. Yeah. At least right now, I'm not talking about fifth place. I'm looking at the top 4.
Top 4. Good man, Franklin. Good man. Very positive, yes. Very positive. And he speaks about leaders there, Franklin, as well. And you spoke about Maguire as well. I mean, leaders score goals, don't they? I mean, you just go to look at, the United fans singing Viva John Terry, as they always do when they go to Stamford Bridge. But John Terry for Chelsea always used to score loads of goals for them. Centre-backs nowadays are expected to kind of chip in with more goals. Maguire would have wanted more goals since he's arrived at United. So good to see him get on the score sheet tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what Franklin, like you were talking about leadership, that was definitely odds on that he was going to be Man United captain. I think it's taken him a few games. I don't know if it was the pressure of wearing the actual armband or whatever, but you see how he played for Leicester and how he plays for England. It's just his personality. It just oozes out of him like that is a captain. But yeah, I mean, Fernandes, we've finally got someone who can cross balls in. So you'd hope that, it reminded me of back in the day when Giggs and Steve Bruce, that sort of combination in headers, because he's got it. He just needs the ball put into the box for him.
Yeah, definitely. Franklin, what are you going to do to celebrate tonight then, mate?
Yeah, I'm just going to chill, watch the replay of the game again, and stop. And don't forget the last time I called, I told you my boy is going to score you goals. Gallo's going to score you goals.
I trust you.
He's going to score.
I trust you, Franklin. I trust you.
I will call you. He was very close to do it today.
When he scores his first United goal, you promise to call us up, yeah?
I'll be calling everyone. I was with this. I watched this guy because I live in Marbella, so I saw these guys. I went to see them. They couldn't let us in, but I have a friend that live very close, so I could see from my friends' tires. I could see them training and stuff like that. I could see they were putting in their good work over the last week, and And we could see the result. And it reminds me of the last time we went to Ole took them to Dubai before the Tottenham game, and we got the result.
Top man, Franklin.
The same London.
Appreciate your call, Franklin. All the best, mate. Thanks for that. We can thank Franklin for the good deliveries into the box then, by the sounds of it.
I also like that he's a little insider in Marbella for training camps.
Like Beasless type stuff, though.
Start taking some shirts and scarves down to the training pitches. You can make a bit of cash, Franklin. Thanks very much for your call. Appreciate everyone who's got in contact tonight, but we're not done yet. Still a few minutes to go if you want to get your calls in. 0345 111 7625 is the number. It's on your screen. Make sure you give us a call. We've also got Ayub, I believe, online too. Ayub, are you there, my friend?
Hello.
How are you doing? How did you find the game? What did you think of the result? Do you think United can now make the top 4?
You never know. We might lose next game again, so there's no hope. Especially when we always lose when we need the most. It's just consistency is not there.
Cheer up. Come on.
I'm happy, but I've been happy too many times, and you know what's gonna happen next game.
You don't want to get ahead of yourself, Ayub? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to kill myself.
Watford at home, though. Come on.
Yeah, but you never know how many times that we say just them teams. There's no point. We're gonna win it, and then we just go when we get draws 0-0. But the only thing I want to say now is our people complain about Ole going Solskjaer. Hello?
Yeah, we're still here. We're just waiting for you. What you want to say about Ole?
But I think people saying, he should be, the team should, technically we are where we should be with our squad. Like, we're not meant to be like 5th, 4th, 6th between there. And then if you take that out, we missed about 4 of the most important players of the season. We missed McTominay, Rashford, Pogba the whole season, Martial 2 months of the season. And if you take out any team with their 4 best players, they're not going to be anywhere as good as we are now. So I think we're doing good. You
think United are on target then? That you think they're doing as well as they could have done this season?
They could be in the mix, but I think we are maybe 1 position off our target. That's 2 points, and we still have 2 points off our points. And then people saying, he's doing bad. And then saying, we should get Odegaard, what's his name, Pochettino. But the guy never won anything, and we never won anything. And people say, he didn't spend money. He spent over 400 million. Nearly 400 million. He never won anything, so why should we get him?
Thoughts on that? United on target, Angelina? Do you feel?
I think after a game like that, you're bound to, get a bit excited. And I think the whole Solskjaer thing, where I stand on it, is you have to kind of wait and see what happens at the end of this season. I think he's, considering the situation, above him, I think he's bought all right. I'm sure people would have liked to have seen maybe 1 or 2 other signings, or maybe I think the kind of last minute signing was a little bit of a shock, but we did get Fernandes that people were crying out for. I think we just got to wait and see how the rest of the season pans out, to be honest. Obviously, I think a lot of the struggling teams have been given this golden ticket thanks to City. So in a way, you might kind of look at it, and if we do get into the Champions League, then obviously everyone's going to be buzzing, but at the same time, if it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't have got into it. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a few things to kind of wait and see with, but I think if we manage to finish strong for the rest of the season, the key is consistency. If he can bring consistency, then I would like to see him stay, and I would like to see what he can bring in the summer, and then take it from there.
I mean, if you look at the way Sheffield United have done this season, I don't think anyone expected them to finish where they are, or at least we don't know where they're going to finish yet, but certainly for them to have been in and around the top 6 for as long as they have has been remarkable. I think Leicester have taken a few people by surprise this year. Maybe people thought Chelsea would be further down. Tottenham have kind of been bad, and then they've kind of come good again. Everton were in the relegation zone, and now they're making a tilt for the top 4. So it is wide open. And I think, as Angelina says, you kind of have to wait. It's still hard to even call now. With only a few games to go, or what it feels like a few games to go. I mean, it's hard to call now and put your finger on it now. So how much more time do you kind of give it before you start planning again for next season?
Well, from a managerial point of view?
From a managerial point of view.
Well, we haven't got enough time for me to get into this, but I think Solskjaer's got a lot of get out of jail cards, because I think his cards were numbered when we played City and Spurs, was it December, and we won them 2 games, and I think he could have found himself gone then, and he's just gone and beat City, and he's just gone and beat Chelsea again, and I think he needs that. He needs the strong finish to stay in the job. Personally, for me, I think his cards are numbered. I think Pochettino will be United manager in the summer, and that's no disrespect for him. But you don't know, Niall. This season, we've done podcasts before together talking about how crazy this season is.
Yeah.
United could finish third. Leicester could have a really bad run.
It's not out of the question.
City could completely implode because they're dodgy with the financial fair play, and Pep loses his cardigan and all sorts of stuff. Who knows what's going to happen? But I don't know.
Yeah, does anyone? Do you know? If you do, give us a call. You got about 5 minutes to do so. 0345 111 7625. Ayub, thank you very much for your call, my friend. Very much appreciated. Get your comments in as well on the Full Time Devils YouTube channel. Appreciate you joining us for this phone in after Manchester United beat Chelsea by 2-0. Were a couple of callers earlier on, Angelina, that mentioned Anthony Martial and about how, what I think it was Dan from Blackburn said that Fernandes kind of forced Martial to get on the front foot. There are a few people as well complaining that maybe he didn't look interested. I know you on Twitter, our kid, were kind of sticking the knife in and twisting a little bit, and then he pops up with a goal. I mean, is that what is the most frustrating thing about Martial? Sometimes he can look a little bit like pedestrian, and then all of a sudden he pops up and scores, and you think, why haven't you been that alert the whole game?
Listen, I think when people call out Martial for like the way he looks or the way he stood or whatever, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I have a certain resting face, which our kid's laughing at because he knows exactly what I mean.
Yes.
It's a running joke. So sometimes I get where he's coming from. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes in your head, you might be well interested, but your face might not show it. So I think for that bit, leave him alone.
I'm glad you're keeping it family friendly.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I thought I'd just touch. But no, I think this season for him and Rashford was very much kind of... I think the season before, it was kind of sink or swim for him as well. I know he had some personal issues and stuff like that. But this season for me was sink or swim for Rashford and Martial, sorry. This was their season to kind of stand up, be counted, get the goals in and kind of prove the worth. And Rashford has 1,000,000% done that. Has Martial? No, he's not at the end of the day. I don't know what the issue is. I wish somebody did know. There's something not quite clicking. But I don't know. I do feel for him sometimes because you are all the time willing for him to just get a goal, have a good performance. And then sometimes, he doesn't seem to be putting in the effort and you kind of lose a bit of sympathy for him. It's a tough one. I mean, you just want to see everyone do well that wears the shirt. Yeah. I think maybe depending who we're going to be having coming in the summer, there might have to be a decision made because at the end of the day, you can hold on to, he's been there a while. People sing songs about him. Some people like him. But if he's not playing and he's not getting the goals in, then maybe we're going to have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion to be had, particularly if Igalo hits the ground running when he comes in. There is one thing that you mentioned there about people not being happy about maybe the way he stands or the way he looks. There's one thing that always gets me. Footballers that wear short sleeves and gloves. Just wear long sleeves, bro.
If somebody knows him or can somebody confirm that, because that does irritate me as well. I would love to know the reason behind it.
It doesn't make sense,
because he's got a glove sponsor. That's why you won't be able to see him mix his gloves. Me for Martial, I think he's missing Rashford now because it's become glaringly obvious how immobile he is, because Rashford does a hell of a lot of running and scores goals. And it was working as a pairing. I felt up until the point, but there's a lot of weight on Martial's shoulders. But rumours are he thinks himself is an out-and-out number 9, but I've not seen it at all. I think it's fantastic, like when he first started joining for United and he scored against Liverpool coming in off the left, very much like a young Thierry Henry. But I do have a level of sympathy, and I think Rio Ferdinand was talking about it just before Christmas, is that he doesn't need the ball into feet. He needs to have through balls to run onto, and because United haven't had that option in midfield, it's very frustrating for a centre forward because he's not like Lukaku, who's not going to be able to hold the ball up, and because of our lack of passes in our centre midfield. So you'd expect, and like the caller was saying earlier on, that he might be able. Bruno Fernandes might be bringing more out of Martial by doing them passes.
Yeah, I mean some of the reverse balls Fernandes was playing, and there was a bit in the first half where he linked up with Fred, which was pretty promising as well.
Yeah.
So there's been moments where kind of Fernandes has picked up the ball and already kind of looked to take the game by the scruff of the neck, which has been the criticism of some of United's midfielders over the last few seasons. No one was willing to kind of take the game to the opposition. And Fernandes, I think, by doing that, might actually encourage the best out of some of the other players.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Angelina said, you can't judge anyone by the face.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, on that premise then, can we judge Igalo?
I saw that side eye.
Yeah, can we judge Igalo by the first few minutes we saw of him in a Manchester United shirt? Is it too soon? I think for me it would probably be too soon to cast a judgment on what we can expect from him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, hands in the air. When we signed him, I was like, why are we signing someone from China who used to play for Watford? But then when you see, do you know what I mean? But then when you seen his press conferences, and it was just, it reminded me very much of Van Persie when he joined for United. You know, you can actually see his love and want to play for the club. Listen, he might not get us 30 goals a season, but United have been missing in various parts of our team for a long time, is that sort of enthusiasm and love to play for the club. So hopefully that'll get him a few goals this season. But yeah, it's too early to decide.
Yeah.
This is quality, by the way. I think it's Harry Maguire's brother, Lawrence, on Twitter has said he's basically posted a screenshot of a text conversation he's had with Harry Maguire, and Maguire's texted him saying, "I'm going to score around the back tonight, watch," from an in-swinging corner. And it happened. Predicted.
I hope he put a
very
bet on
good.
it.
Yeah, can you imagine? I don't know if he'd be allowed. He might get in a bit of trouble if he did that. Harry Maguire backing himself to score. All in all then, if we're going to wrap this up, a 2-0 victory at Stamford Bridge, you'd take that, you'd snap someone's arm off for that before the game. But as we said throughout the whole show, loads of positives to take from this. Is it now doing what a lot of callers have called up and feared about, making sure you do the business over Watford? Because there's no point beating Chelsea, a rival around you, if you then go and struggle to a team in the relegation zone.
No, I mean, the excuses have been before the last transfer windows that we didn't have the personnel, and that was affecting us for our consistency. We just beat Chelsea. We can't be affording, if we have any intentions of getting top 4 or European, we can't be having another false dawn. And Watford, you know, it'd be nice to make a statement to nip it in the bud about this consistency and absolutely wipe the floor with Watford. But Nigel Pearson can be a tough team to break down.
Angelina, same sort of thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you say, the consistency is just so key. I think we would silence a lot of critics if we could kind of prove ourselves. And it is, you know, like one of the callers before saying, you know, you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, and it is the case. Like, they've put us through so much. It's like you don't want to get into a false sense of security and think, oh my God, like after the City game and everyone was so happy, and then it just all went downhill. So yeah, I can understand people's frustration, but I would really, really like to think that the Watford game, you know, we can, you know, have a good game. Maybe with Spurs coming up, we can take something from that as well. Just got to be hopeful, I guess.
Hopeful. Hope is the word we're taking out of this.
Hope that kills you.
Yeah, indeed it does. Thanks very much, Arkir. Thanks, Angelina.
Cheers.
I've been Niall. Thanks for watching the Full-Time Devils fan phone-in after the United's victory over Chelsea. A big 3 points, a big win, and indeed a big win to commemorate the life of Harry Greg Obi. So rest in peace, Harry. What a guy he was, by the way. By all accounts, people that knew him said he was an unbelievable storyteller. But just the things he's achieved in his life outside of the game and the heroics and heroism he showed to kind of do what he did all those years ago is, I think he's going to rightly be remembered in Manchester United legend for years and years to come. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm still amazed how he wasn't given a knighthood during his life, to be honest. And in some ways, the bloke that he was, the football secondary, what that man did for the Munich disaster to take them people out of the plane is just, you know, and then to play 13 days later. Yeah, just says it all up. Unbelievable. So rest in peace, Harry. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for calling in. Really appreciate it. We'll be back after the next game. Make sure you hit subscribe on the channel, though. Fancams to come very soon from outside Stamford Bridge. I'm sure there'll be some very happy United fans. But that's been it for now. Cheers. We'll see you soon. See you later.